Hey guys, we're back again with another segment of Spare Talk, and just excited that we get to have Tim Mack again with us. If you guys remember, we did a 60-second for success in Indy, and you guys just thoroughly enjoyed it, and you wanted to hear some more from Mr. Tim Mack, who is the tour rep for the PBA tour. And we're going to talk a little bowling. We're going to talk a little bit what's going on with him during this kind of slowed down kind of quarantine time. Got some exciting news that came out today from the PBA, and he can touch on that. And then we're going to talk a little bit of Nittany Lion football as well. So on our backstory. Right. So Tim, good to have you with us, sir. Thank you for coming.
Hey, listen, Gary, thanks for having me, and appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on the show and talk to you. And also, the 60 seconds of success was a nice little segment we did up there in Indy. And just so people know, I mean, the tour rep is kind of like, that's part of it's not my main responsibility at Storm at the moment. At the moment, I'm actually the European sales manager for all of Europe and the Middle East. And when we have the major championships and the big events on tour, I'm able to join Jim Callahan and Sean Ryan and Doug Kent and Steve Jacobs and sometimes Lenny Borsch, who has been out, and obviously Del Ballard and Matt McNeil when they've had an opportunity, and be part of the tour team, and be an integral part of our guys trying to help our guys win, which is fun, obviously, but I certainly miss throwing the rock. That's for sure.
I caught the segment that you did with on Flow Bowling, and you was talking about in 24 hours or something. You went from not making it cut to being way outside to bowling a couple 300s. I think your term you used was back then it was like throwing on asphalt or throwing it in the parking lot.
Yeah, it was a crazy story. Yeah, when you used to travel overseas, the lanes were really, really, really difficult.
Right.
And when I first started going over there, it was before Kegel and before lane maintenance. Really, the education of bowling had transferred around the world. I mean, obviously we had people traveling, but lane maintenance, and as we know, lane conditions determine scoring pace. And, they were notoriously incredibly difficult in all of Asia. And, right. The hook ball bowler, which is our natural, the bulk of our bowlers would many times struggle going over there. So it just happened that Singapore was one of the countries that put up $100,000 for 300 at any time during the tournament. And, I'd been in that position in previous years where I bowled 299 and just couldn't get the prize. And then, I was way out of the cut at the moment. I was averaging under 200. That's how hard the lanes were. And fortunately for me, I put together 300 on the first game on the fresh for the $100,000 first prize. And then, made the finals that day. I actually bowled 137 the next game and then bowled 268. And I think I bowled 145 the next game. So it was kind of a whirlwind up and down, and, made the finals, dropped all the pins. And then we bowled less than 24 hours after I shot 300. We bowled a 12-game total pinfall top 3 TV show. And I bowled really good. Shot 350 over, led it, and shot 250 and won the tournament. And I think all up it was somewhere around $125,000 for everything. I know the 300 was 100,000. I can't remember if the tournament paid 15, 20 or 25,000. I got some bonuses also on the side from some of my sponsors. So it was about 125,000 all up. So it was pretty cool.
But the side story to this, or the backstory, was, like you said, 24, 36 hours previous, you was nowhere wasn't in the cut line. You wasn't nowhere to be found, right? So
I was really far out of the cut. The lanes were really hard. Just the scoring pace was really low, really difficult. And I was just looking the final day to make the cut. You go into the tournament trying to win. That's what you want to do. You go into any tournament trying to win. And I think it's a perfect example of why you never quit and why you continue to try to grab every pin. For all you kids out there that are watching, or anybody else that's watching, adults, youth, you fight for every pin no matter what, because you never know. you're never out of it until you're mathematically out of it. And that's how I looked at it. And I just kept grinding and grinding and grinding. And, you know, I was 254 under with three games to go in the second block. And I shot somehow bowled my 270 under. And I shot 740 the last three to get to some respectable number. We're still 130 under going into the last day. And, you know, we're talking where, you know, 205, 210 is a really good game. And, you know, at that time, you know, the first game on the fresh, the next day I was able to bowl 300 with an X Factor deuce. Never forget it. Still got the ball downstairs at my house. And it's one of those memorable moments in my career that, you know, as I further distance myself from that moment and those times, you appreciate those things. You know, when I was younger, you know, you hear all the athletes and, well, back in the day when I did this, and back in the day when I, you know, but you don't really appreciate it until you actually go through it. And, yeah, especially now since I've had all the injuries I've had, and I haven't been able to compete, you know, the last 4 years at all. Really, you know, but it's been, you know, it's been good in another way. I've been able to, you know, branch out and learn more about the industry, and, you know, be more assertive in some other areas, and be more more effective for Storm in a lot of other areas, and have more opportunities to help grow our company and grow our sport, and you know, continue to make bowling great. So it's been a lesser, you know, a blessing that I've been able to, you know, take on those responsibilities. And listen, as we get older, at some point in time, everybody's ball stops striking. So you're going to have something to do.
You got something to fall back on, right?
That's right.
But now, you know, you talk about everything that you've done for Storm. Now, a lot of people, and you had shared this story with me when we were talking before we started the interview. I first met you in Chicago at Collegiate Expo. It was right after Deandra and Jason and Bill Spigner had came and did a clinic here in Alabama. And we were talking about Jason, and you were saying, I've got my eye on a left-hander, a two-handed bowler. And you said, wait till you see this guy come out. And I think you was talking about Jesper at the time.
That's correct.
And so you've actually brought the two-handed bowlers from the European side, you know, over to mainstream America, or you know, for those guys to actually get recognized, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. First off, I met Jesper when he was 7 years old. I bowled against his in Swedish league. I used to bowl league in Sweden. I would fly back and forth and bowl league with Team Pergamon, and you know, I was fortunate to meet Jesper at a real young age, and then you know, kind of watched him grow up, and then he was out of my eye for a while, and then you know, when he started really coming into his own as a young teen, you know, so he was something incredible. Very similar to Belmo. You know, I met Belmo when he was 16, before he ever traveled, did anything, and then you know, if you watch his show a couple weeks ago, I was on the Belmo show, and
I saw that.
You know, we talk about our experiences together, and you know, how close knit our relationship is, and a lot of that has to do with you know, with the trust level because we've known each other for so long, and I think that's why, you know, we have such good communication when we're talking as far as the rep and me helping him or me helping Jesper. There's a comfort level and a trust level, also not only from the coaching standpoint, but also from the bowler standpoint, because those guys know I've done it before, and have seen me win some big events, and you know, been there. So I think it's just a really good mix, and I've been lucky to meet these guys at a young age, and like I said, you know, I told everybody when Belmo was coming, I said, you guys have no idea what's coming, because when he figures it out, look out. And obviously he's figured it out, and you're talking about two bowlers that are already PBA Hall of Fame eligible. Both will be first ballot Hall of Famers, and you know, it's a lot of pride in that regard for me, because you know, I traveled the world, and you know, for quite a long time, and you know, made a lot of sacrifices for my family and what have you. But you know, I'd be remiss to not mention the fact that if it's not for Bill Crispin and Storm Bowling Products and Corbett Austin, and also a gentleman named Robert Smith, who was a great PBA champion, U.S. Open champion,
Hmm.
for taking me overseas on my first trip. And Bill and Bill and Barb, the co-owners of Storm, and Corbett taking a chance on a kid that was just fresh out of college, fresh from playing football.
Right.
I don't know I'd be sitting in this seat that I'm sitting in today.
Right. Well, we all have those times in our life that we can look back and say, hey, it was, this person had motivated me or pushed me in this direction. And this is the reason why I'm at today. A similar story. My daughter growing up, of course, she bowls for bowled for UAB and graduated, a couple of weeks ago. Growing up, she played basketball. She started basketball when she was in junior high. She was on the freshman team in high school. In junior high, she ran high school track. She did high school volleyball in junior high. And then lo and behold, my brother-in-law and sister had an opportunity to buy the local center in town. And then, she went there when they first opened it up, and she got to throw in, and she said, hey, I kind of like this to kind of get away from my basketball, volleyball, and, track, just
Sure.
to kind of get away and just kind of, but the more she got to bowling, the more she enjoyed it. And
Right.
we happened upon a gentleman who we were in Huntsville, and a gentleman who had bowled in several regional tours had come in and saw her, and they said, hey, she's a little rusty, but, if you could get her with the right folks, she could turn out to be a pretty good bowler. And
Right.
I reached out to Deandra, because at the time she was doing the IAB, and we emailed backwards and forwards and talked about different things. And then they were putting on a mini clinic in Hobart, Indiana. And we flew up there and spent some time. And I told Deanna, I said,
great.
look, we're flying up here for this. I said, no, she's a three-tier athlete in other sports, but she's really enjoying bowling. She's getting into it. And
Right.
real quick, when we come up to do the clinic, if you could take about 15 minutes and just watch her. I mean, I know you're going to be
Sure.
working with her, but just if you could do that for me, for coming all this way.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure. No problem.
Yeah.
First off, I want to say something about Deandra. I've known Deandra for quite a long time, and she's what's right about our sport. She's passionate.
Right.
A great teacher. She was a great bowler. Still has a lot of gas in the tank. Obviously, I think her goals and objectives have changed since she's raising a family, and she really loves being around her wonderful kids and her wonderful husband John. Deandra's done a lot of great things for a lot of she had her own youth tour up there in the up in the Chicago area. She's done a lot of great things in the IAB when her and Jason had that going was fantastic. So nothing but great things to say about Deandra. She's a great person.
Yeah,
and a great friend. And luckily you got with some good people when she needed that at the right time, and good things happen. So kudos to you guys.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Her and Jason spent 20 minutes with her, and they came back and they said, well, she's a little rusty, but it's there. It just needs to be sculptured, chiseled away. But if she's serious about this, and Deandra and I got together, and we did a distant program, and I think the first year and a half we went to Chicago like 6 times. Just for Deandra and Bill to work for, and then they did came down and did a couple of clinics. But it's because of that, a family member purchasing a bowling center and then getting in with the right people, and then lo and behold, years later she wins the Pepsi State Championship.
Gets a full scholarship to UAB, huh?
Right. Yeah, and she got the scholarship to UAB.
It looks like all those trips to Chicago and all that stuff paid off.
That's the thing, because we said all that money that we spent going to Chicago actually paid for the college. I think wasn't a full ride, but I think the most me and her mom paid in the last 4 years. I think we owed UAB like $8,000 or something.
Yeah, but still, that's a great story, and that's what happens when you have goals and dedication and hard work. Hard work beats talent every day when talent doesn't work hard. So
exactly.
Kudos to you guys and your daughter.
And real quick, we'll get back to you. But with all the offers that she had from going to Collegiate Expo that we met you at, and she wanted to give back, and we started. That's when we started the Pens for Pens Foundation. And last year we gave away the first ever book scholarship to one individual. And with all the donations and things that we have gotten from a lot of different PBA bowlers, we were able to give away, we're going to give away 2 scholarships this year. And we're hoping that each year we get to add another one. So, we're giving back to those that we feel deserve it, because we were been blessed and given to us. So I
That's
understand.
great.
I understand where you're coming from
Fantastic.
and the opportunities that you get.
That's fantastic. It's great stuff. And, continued success, trying to run that scholarship and continue doing what you're doing, because we need more people like you in our sport. It certainly makes it better. That's for sure.
Well, I certainly do appreciate it. Let's, because we only have a short time with you. I know you got some other things going on.
Sure.
What have you been doing during this quarantine
Well,
downtime and everything?
Yeah, listen, it's been pretty difficult, to be honest with you, Gary. My wife's a medical ICU nurse.
Right.
Okay?
I knew she was a nurse. Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
She's on the front lines, and yeah, it's been difficult. I've had some health issues I had to look at during this time as well, and really this is a time for to be smart. Listen to the people that are the scientists that are that are doing all the tests and studies out there. Great time to try to get yourself in the best possible shape with good eating habits and stuff like that. So I've been doing a lot of that stuff. Been trying to check up on our European customers and our great partnerships and all of our great clients over there, and bowling in general there. Checking up on our company also in Utah. They were fortunate that we've been able to stay open during this time, and having international meetings, a lot of Zoom calls
Right.
as we're doing.
Right.
But really, it's been difficult for my wife, on the front lines, because there's been so many COVID patients that that have been in the hospitals, and she's got a seat in the front lines. And myself and my daughter, we have asthma, and we can't afford to catch that virus, because you don't know
Sure.
what it's going to do. So, but I have been home for the first time in a real long time, 60 since the World Series of Bowling, March 16th. So every day, every night, which has been a change,
Right.
a nice change,
Right.
as I've been able to see my girls every day. But listen, you hope bowling. We're going to be resilient. We'll survive this, and we'll persevere, and we'll hopefully come out of this on the other end. On my side, I'm just trying to do everything I can to stay in the best possible shape possible, to take care of myself health-wise, and try to battle some of the health issues I'm fighting, and then try to move forward when this thing starts to break, which it looks like we're starting to have, phase 1, phase 2 in a lot of the states
Right.
around the country. Still, there'll be another wave that comes hit us, and really until there's a vaccine, life will be a little bit odd for quite a while. But I think once we get the vaccine, or some treatment plan, everybody will go back to normal, and then they'll treat it like when you get your flu shot, or you're getting your tetanus shot or something like that. And I think our world will go back to some sort of normalcy. But in the meantime, for the next 12 months or so, it's going to be a difficult run.
Well, we certainly, keep your wife in our thoughts and prayers, as well as every, medical, whether they're, all the way from a surgeon, doctor, all the way down to, just a licensed nurse.
Yeah, it's tough, Gary. It's tough.
We certainly keep them in our thoughts and prayers, because they're the ones it's keeping everybody healthy and helping the ones overcome that have this dreadful virus. So
yeah, it's
thoughts and prayers for those
it's very scary. It's real, and it just doesn't attack the old; it attacks everybody. And I obviously know firsthand, because my wife's seeing it every day. And a lot of sleepless nights for me, because I get concerned when my wife leaves.
Right.
Going to work. So it's hard to take your mind off it. It's hard not to think about it. So just doing the best we can with what we got. But so far we've been good. We've been able to avoid things and change protocols, and with how she comes back from work, with changing her clothes and showering and all kinds
Right.
of things. So a lot of things have changed. So We'll just have to continue to dot our I's and cross our T's, and hopefully, keep our fingers crossed, and we all can beat this and rally this thing together around the world.
I understand. And, my younger sister is a nurse, so I know what you're talking about with the whole protocol changes. So, like I said, God bless those folks and keep keep them safe.
Appreciate you.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Everybody knows Tim Mack. They see him Saturdays. They see him Sundays. See him on Flow Bowling, the bowler.
Yeah.
But let's talk Tim Mack, the We Are Penn State Nittany Lion. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
When you were talking about your daughter earlier, it was interesting because I grew up a pretty good all-around athlete. I played baseball obviously played high school football and played basketball, and I skied and raced motorcycles. And, we grew up in a great place in Pennsylvania in the Pocono Mountains. And, just myself and my brother were all around athletes, and we just did everything. Bowled our 3 games of junior league on the weekend. And then, I had scholarship offers to play baseball and football and go to, bowl for the university, and ended up following my high school girlfriend to Penn State. And, I bowled for the university for a couple of years. And then, I realized I missed football. And I didn't want to go play Division II or Division III football for me at that time. It was just like another 4 years of high school.
Right.
And, I said, I'm going to try to walk on and play football at Penn State. And, everybody said I was crazy. And when someone says I can't do something, put that chip on my shoulder, and I go out there and try to prove them wrong. So, I went through the 150 guys showed up, walk on tryouts. It was just like some of the stuff you see in the movies. Out of shape, people just trying to live their dream, just wanting to walk into the facilities. And then there were some people that were some real good athletes. First year, I didn't make it. Went back, trained in the gym, trained harder, got back, made the spring squad, played in the spring game, did really good in the spring game, played well in special teams in the spring game. Got cut. Joe Paterno sat in his office. He said, I don't know if you have what it takes to play football here. And I looked at him in the eye and I said, I'll tell you what, in 6 months from now, I'm going to say, don't say I didn't tell you so, because I'm going to be back in here and I'm going to make this team. And we're going to, with the team, in the future, to, a championship. Long story short, 6 months later, I was walking into the squad room with my arm around Joe, and I said, I told you. Get in there, Timmy, get in there. So, it's a good laugh. I'll never forget.
Great
God
story.
Bless Joe Paterno, who's, I learned a lot from him in life and the coaching staff, Fran Ganner and, Bill Kinney and, Dick Anderson and, Tom Bradley and, Greg Schiano was an assistant. Obviously, Jerry Sandusky was there as well.
Yeah.
We had an amazing coaching staff that I was able to learn from, and learned a lot from Joe about life and, preparing. And we say Joe because we call him by first name. We don't call him Coach. We said Joe. He was first name basis because we wanted us to treat him like men. And, it was an experience I'll never forget. And, some of the teammates I played with, went on to amazing careers in the NFL. I roomed with Bobby Ingram, who played for the Chicago Bears and Seattle Seahawks, who's now the wide receivers coach for the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow.
Who just went 14-2 last year with Lamar Jackson. My other roommate, Kajana Carter, was the #1 pick in the 95 draft. Played for the Saints, played for the Redskins, and another real dear friend of mine, played wide receiver with Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins. O.J. McDuffie had a great career down there for Miami. Led the NFL in receiving one year. 98 with receptions. He's in the Wall of Fame down there for the Dolphins. Jeff Harding's great teammate. Played center for Detroit Lions and won a Super Bowl with Pittsburgh Steelers. Marco Rivera won a Super Bowl with Green Bay. He also played down. Great guy. Played down at Dallas as well. Kyle Brady, great tight end. Played at Jacksonville and then was on the undefeated team on the Patriots that lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Kerry Collins was our quarterback. Great player.
See, I remember all these. I remember all these guys. I remember watching Penn State.
I just played, John Whitman and Tyoka Jackson. What a career he had in the NFL, and just Stephen Pitts and Mike Archie and Freddie Scott and Eric Bavati and Lou Benfatti. I just, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's just, just, but, and, I learned so much about preparation and about, being ready and treating people the right way and doing things the right way. And, that experience that I had at Penn State I'll take it forever,
Yeah.
forever with me. My body feels it every day. People don't realize how hard the position are. I laugh at people that, sit and watch a football game and then yelling at the TV, oh, drop the ball, you missed this block. People have no idea what it's like to play at that level, at that speed, the size, and the quick time reaction you have to have to